That sounds like Chicago. I think I'm going to call my buddy Nick at the Chicago Wild Bird Hotline and see what he's got to say today. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Ring, ring.
Hi, you've reached Nick at the Chicago Bird Hotline. How can I help you?
Hi, Nick Wilkinson. Welcome to the Lipstick Pickup.
Hi, thanks for having me. This is really great. Thank you so much.
I'm calling Wild Birds to talk about music and lipstick pickups. And I want to introduce my listeners to Nick Wilkinson. And I don't know how we met on Instagram, but we bumped into each other. And the reason why I want to talk to Nick today is that I call the kind of content that I like on Instagram or YouTube or wherever else, not content, I call it contentment.
Love that.
And Nick is really funny. He's made some funny observations about the music biz and the social world. And I thought he was funny. So I reached out to him one day and I said, I want to have you on my podcast because I'm looking for funny, intelligent life in this world. And so here you are. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, glad to be here. I'm so looking forward to disappoint you that I'm not that funny or intelligent. No, I'm kidding. It'll be a good time.
Hey, guess what? I went and stalked you all through the streaming services and also your YouTube presence. So I can confirm that you're very talented and I like your music. It rocks and it's also sometimes folky and it's great stuff.
Thank you so much.
I spent some time on your YouTube channel. I stalked your YouTube channel.
Thank you so much. I will also be honest, I'm not on the YouTube channel that often. I don't do the YouTube very much.
Oh, I know. It was old stuff. I don't mean to say that. I didn't mean to imply you're the Rick Beato, but I went to go see some of your performances. I have a measly little YouTube channel myself, but I liked what I saw and I got to hear your new song and also the other things. And the first question I want to ask you is do you still call yourself Nick Wilkinson? Is it Wilkinson?
Wilkinson.
Wilkinson.
But that's okay. It's a funny story about the last name too, because every time when I was first starting out playing music, and still every time my name gets published, it gets published wrong. I've had it spelled different ways all the time. And so I even in high school, people would call me Nick Wilkinson. It's it's an IN. I just hear it both ways now. I'll respond to either.
When you look at the printed word, for some reason you see those two
it all
letters
blurs together. Yeah, just right. Yeah.
Anyway, I like your music. I like
Thank
your
you.
sense of humor. I like your pragmatic and practical approach to recording and making music and being an artist because it's a tough world out there. And guess what? It's always been tough.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'll have to send this to my mom too because she called me the other day because of the videos I've been posting on Instagram. She follows me. Facebook tells me my mom is my #1 fan because she goes through and likes everything that I post. And it's Margaret, your #1 fan has liked another post. They're like, reach out and say thank you. I'm like, that's my mom. It's fine. I'll call her. I'll call her soon. And we were on the phone and she's just like, hey, I just want to talk to you about the things you're posting on the internet. And she's like, should I be worried? I'm like, no, do not worry. The people who get it, get it. I think the people who get it, get it. There's nothing to worry about. So I need to send this. I'll send this over to her and be like, listen to this podcast. Don't worry. People get it, Mom. I'm fine.
You got a lively sense of humor, and a sense of humor is just like music, right? Some people have dad humor, and then some people are smart asses. I tend toward the smart ass, and it's a thing. But I liked your observations on things. And before I get you to tell me about yourself and what you're doing there in Chicago, I want to talk to you that I went back to Instagram. Social media is the devil, but I can't go back and see what the first thing how long we've been connected. And it was because you were saying AI is going to take my job.
AI is going to take my job. There's no way, because how could it? How could AI, write sad folk songs and rock songs about girls? AI could never do that. AI's never sat alone in a high school, sad they just gotten broken up with. It can't relate to that, AI's never been turned down for a number while you're out with your friends. AI can't relate to that kind of stuff. So it's
you're gonna need real intelligence.
Yeah, you can't set AI up at the dive bar and be like, hey, what's your name? And then go, no, thank you. AI will never Could never. So, yeah, come for my job, AI. You try hauling an 80-pound speaker to every show. Yeah, right.
Not to make fun of people who feel threatened by artificial
No,
intelligence, but there
it's
is
a
always
real
a
threat to like
boogeyman.
working. Yeah,
You got to maintain your sense of humor, and Nick is
yeah,
doing it. So that's why he's here.
yeah.
Now, tell me about you and your music because you sound like a folkie and then you sound like a rocker. And I want to know what's going on there and what's happening in Chicago.
No, yeah, for sure. Well, I grew up in very, very, very rural Ohio, just north of Columbus by a couple hours, and I think that's kind of where that blend comes from. Because when you grow up in a small town, there's like two sides of what I listen to. I listen to a lot of like folk music that my mom and my uncle would share with me, and country music, but then I also listen to like System of a Down and
Hmm.
Bowling for Soup and like heavier music. And then I was also very lucky to have family in Ireland that would send us CDs that were cool in Ireland at the time, and we got to discover a lot of really cool music that way, which is how I learned about like the Frames and Snow Patrol and all of this. And I think like just all of these different influences kind of like blending together, from like listening to Johnny Cash and then it going directly into like an Avenged Sevenfold song and then switching over to having the Dubliners on. Like all of this stuff has definitely shaped who I am as a musician, and I'm trying to like more recently take more stock in just like that sort of like foundation that I had built. I've
Hmm.
built all of these influences and people in my life that have shared music with me. And it's one of these things that I was joking with some friends is I want to do album reviews, but I review how that album is related to the person who shared it with me, and that album still being meaningful and how I found it.
I love this. I want to say diversity. In
Yeah,
the pregame, I talked about my experience in Mississippi and how it made it pretty complicated about the kind of music that I listened to. And so,
yeah.
yeah, I love that you had that and you also embraced it. Diversity is the best word for it.
No, yeah, and I think I was really lucky that I had parents who tried to help, expand that. Because on top of that, like, just listening to like I had like one of the first tapes I was given. It was given to me by my stepbrother, and he's just like, I think you'll like this. And it was like, it wasn't the entire Pink Floyd Prism album. It was just tape two with Shine On You Crazy Diamond on like one whole side of the tape that I would play in my 95 Corolla, like the first car I got, with all the rust on the hood and the faux wood paneling. And I would pop that tape in. And like it drove my friends crazy for 6 months. That was the only tape I owned. And so we would just listen every time we would drive, we would just listen to Shine On You Crazy Diamond on repeat. And let me tell you, definitely a huge influence on on me.
Uh, Cassettes. Can I ask you what you think about the cassette revival?
As I look over at the boombox I bought to record some music, I love it. I think it's so neat. Everything's digital now, which is great. Like I love having access to my music collection anywhere I go. I don't have to carry I still have my binder of CDs. It's sitting right here in my closet. Like it's on a little shelf in my closet, like the little binder of CDs that I've had since high school.
Hmm.
And I love physical media. I like that cassettes are coming back because when everything's digitized, there's not like having a physical object present to remind you of the thing existing. Maybe it's just because I'm terribly ADHD, but having
Yeah.
that physical object to remind me, I have a shelf over here with a bunch of things that friends have given me so I can see them and go, "Oh, that's super sweet. That was given to me by that card's from my buddy Nate on my birthday." That
Yeah.
picture is from when we went to the bar and all took pictures in the photo booth. Like cassettes and physical media like that are a lot the same way to me. Is if I go to a show and I have such a great time, I want to pick up something and take it home with me. And
Hmm.
t-shirts are cool, but if I like a little trinket like a cassette that I can put on a wall, like almost like a patch, I put it on a wall with the rest of the tapes, and I can go back to the tapes and go, I remember when I got that one. I remember where this one came from. Like I remember the show I was at when I grabbed that tape. You know,
I
I think it's
think
great. I don't think it's a fidelity thing. I don't think it's a listening experience thing for me. It's just a collectible. It's a bit like bringing a shiny rock home. sort of thing.
I like your observation because it agrees with what I've been feeling about it. I have an entire wall of thousands of compact discs.
Oh yeah.
And I hang on to them. They're really sentimental to me. And even still, I'll pull one down. There'll be an old ticket stub that I stuck in there. I'm like,
Yeah.
look, I saw Little Village in 1988. Anyway, I tell people that I
Yes.
think the unfortunate thing about everybody grousing about the streaming thing is that you still have an opportunity to sell people something physical, because now that music is effectively free,
Yeah.
people want something to buy.
Yeah. No, it's merchandise. It's good for the bands, and also it's a nice way to. It is a nice way to just, I think, solidify that moment in your life. You have something tangible from that moment to make it
Yeah.
feel real, which I just love.
I think people who connect with music are more likely to want that. You know what I mean when I
Oh
say
yeah.
really connect. Nobody really hates music, but how big a part it plays in some people's lives is different. And I've never played music, and my whole life is pretty much around it. My husband and I go on vacations just to see concerts. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm the same way. I have friends who I love my friends that don't care that I'm a musician. They're like, I have no interest in coming to see you play, and I'm like, that's great. We can talk about anything else. That's so wonderful.
Yes.
And
Gotta
I love
have
my
them.
music friends, and I love talking about music with my music friends, but it's also nice to have friends who are just like, that's not a major part of my life. I don't really listen to music in the same way. And I'm like, cool, rad, awesome.
You got to be well rounded.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So continue on telling me. I keep asking you questions. I really want.
Oh no, feel free. Yeah, ask questions
I like
away.
your attitude, so I'm picking your brain. Is basically what's happening.
I dig it. I dig it. No, so I've been doing this for like 20 years. I started out playing in punk bands in like high school. I had a band out there, and then when I moved to college, I played bass originally, and I moved to college and I learned to play acoustic guitar because you can't really play bass by yourself. And I was really lucky. I met some guys in college. My one friend Chris took some pity on me and taught me some things on guitar and like really helped me start building my guitar skills, and been writing songs and playing out ever since I was like 16 years old, and always kind of put it on the back burner. In the past year or so, I've decided like I've done some time not as a musician, and I was so sad. I missed it so much that I'm like, I recently made the decisions like, I don't know how this is going to work. I'm working on it. I'm doing okay. But like, this is what I want to do full time. I want to be in this environment full time. And so I've released music in the past, and I'm working on my first full length album now. I released a new song recently since the last. I think I recorded. I think it's been 5 years now, but I had the privilege of recording a song with this band Telethon out of Milwaukee, and we somehow got Stephen Page of the Bare Naked Ladies to sing on that, which is still wild to me.
Wow.
And I've been very privileged, and I'm very, very grateful for the things I've accomplished in music so far. And my friends are like, well, aren't you upset that you don't have more notoriety? And I'm like, that's not important to me. Like, I'd love to be sustainable, but like, I'm not looking to be the guy in one or even mentioned in like Rolling Stone or anything like that. It's like, I just want to do it. Like, I just like doing it and existing in it so much. Like, so much.
The musicians at my age, I'll tell you, the musicians with the most longevity are the ones that are not groveling for some level of notoriety that says they made it.
Yeah.
It's just like building a business and anything else as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Or you may, you know what I mean? The idea that you even want to be a rock star. I don't think I'd want to be a rock star, quite
No.
honestly.
No. Yeah. I mean, like, I got offered a record deal a little while back, and just thinking about talk to friends, talk to some family, and just thinking about it. It's like, that's not really why I'm getting in, like why I'm doing this sort of thing. So I
Hmm.
ended up turning it down, and honestly, I'm really glad about that decision. To have done that, because
To be
I'm
able to release your things independently, you mean?
yeah, to be able to release things independently, to not be working on someone else's time frame. Well, I guess the time frame that I'm would have been contractually obligated to work on things, and being able to be more focused on what is here and around me rather than having to chase some carrot down the road that isn't isn't necessarily obtainable, you know?
Yeah, it makes sense. My opinion as a listener, I know that streaming is taking a lot of money away from people that made it more readily, but it also means that it's easier to publish things and get it in the ears of people. And that is the glass half full version.
That is the glass half full version. I've had conversations about that recently, is like with some friends, like, is it too easy to release music? And at the end of the day, mate, no, it's not too easy. It makes people have to be more choosy about what they spend their time on. So if you're going to get out there and you want to do this, you have to kind of present the best version of yourself that you can, you
Mhm.
know, I think is good for everybody. It really pulls us all up as musicians and performers. And there are friends of mine who are way more talented than me. And I know, and I think like one of the mindsets that a lot of people have to get out of, for that I say a lot of people, I had to get out of, is not being upset that I'm not at their level of musicianship, and being comfortable with where I am, but always pushing myself to do more, which is huge because I am afraid of nothing. The ease that music is available, it's so easy to put out anything without thinking about it, and I think that's what these like Instagram and Spotify and Apple Music, and they all want you to be constantly putting new things on their platform so they can constantly be feeding people stuff to
Yeah.
listen to and watch and consume. And you know, part of it is playing the game, which is how we met. Like, I started posting more on Instagram, started
Mhm.
posting more videos just to be present on there. And, but when it comes to the music, I really want to get that right. And it's been really great to be like taking that time to be like, I'm going to put out an album that I am proud of, that I've put a lot of work into, and not just release a song every 6 weeks because we need to keep the content farm going, you
Yeah.
know?
I like that point of view. I hadn't really heard anybody express it quite like that, but it makes sense.
Rad, cool.
So, do you have a release date for your new record, or you're just working on it now? Or?
I'm just working on it. I want it to be out. I'm hoping it's done because we've got everything tracked. Well, not everything. We got a lot of it tracked in September, and I've been finalizing some guitar parts, and I still need to do the vocals on it. But the goal is to have it out by the end of June. So we're getting real close to having that done. The first single from that recording session we put out in November. It was a song that I had kind of found in a notebook while I
Mhm.
was like working on this album, about when I would like spend way too go out way too late from a gig and drive 3 hours home. So I'd leave a gig at like midnight, 2 in the morning, and then drive back to Akron. And it was a song just about falling asleep at the wheel and just trying to like want to get home. So I found this little sketch in a notebook, and I'm like, oh, okay, I remember this song. And I sat down, flushed out the rest of it, and ended up being like really proud of what it turned into. And so we put it out as the first single, and a little bit different than the other stuff that we had released before, which is with like a full band and loud and like dynamic. And this is very just chill. And
Okay, I listened to it. Remind me what the name of the song is.
oh yeah, the song is called Coming Home to You.
Yeah, and I looked at the video and I like the video.
Thank you so much. It was
That's my favorite place to listen to music, in the car, and just the
yeah.
image of you and the music. Listen, yeah, I was like, way to go, low budget, also very pragmatic. I loved it.
Thank you. We me and my friend Jose, we had played a gig. We were in Princeton, Illinois, and it's just such a beautiful downtown. We play kind of regularly down there at a whiskey bar called Barrel Society, and we were leaving, and they had all the lights were still up downtown, and it was like the big old small town downtown. And I'm like, this is
Mhm.
perfect. So we took one of the phone holders. We took one of the phone holders from our guitars, from our mic stands that we would put our phones on to like play covers on the fly, and we attached it to the rear view mirror on the side of the car and rolled down the window. And so Jose is sitting there with his hands behind the phone in case it falls off, and I'm like, we're just gonna drive for 3 minutes up to the Casey's we're gonna go to the Casey's and we're gonna get on the way out of town to get gas. So we're just gonna do a loop and we're just gonna drive up the road, which is about 3 minutes, and it was exactly the length of the song
That's
to get
killer.
up
I
the
love it.
Casey's.
It's groovy. Way to go.
Thank you so much.
Tell me more about your community, other things you're doing there in Chicago. I hope to make it to Chicago this summer, and I want you to tell me what I need to come check out.
Oh man, there's so much to that's what's great about this town. There's always something happening. Tonight I have a gig with my buddy, and then the same time is like four other events happening, and it's so cool just to see how much is going on in this music scene and how willing everyone is to be a part of it together. I recently, my friend Ben Pavlik, he's a musician here in town. He started a whole group chat with just everyone he knows from working at this place called Book Club. And it's literally a chat of what's the show we're going to tonight. And so we'll post up like, hey, I'm going to this show if anybody wants to join us, and like keeping everybody, and just like more and more people are getting added to this chat every day. And it's a
That's real influencing. You know, the
it's
people. That's influence right there.
it's
That's
so cool. It's
yeah.
so cool.
That's a community.
It's really great. It is so supportive in that way, where we're all doing our own thing, but we're all like treating each other respectfully as peers, which is great. I host weekly here in town. I do a showcase up in my neighborhood called Featured Live. I've been running open mics in town for like 5 years, just to hang out with my friends mostly. You know,
Mhm.
it's like I want a place after the pandemic. I was like, I want a place to play music with my friends, and so my friend started a my friend worked at a bar, and I was like, can me and my friends come down here and like have an open mic? And my friend was like, yeah, there's no one ever here on Tuesdays, so feel free, come on up. And so that's how that started, and it's grown into this whole community of people. They'll come to my open mic, they'll go to other people's open mic, they'll tell people about my open mic, and I'll tell them about my buddy who has one on the south side, or the one that happens on Thursdays is my dog Bowie barking at the upstairs neighbor's dog. Um,
Hey, Bowie.
but it's so there are so many different parts of the scene here in town. It's the biggest little city in the country. It's such an amazing area. Um, and everybody wants to do their best with the music, but what I really love is that it's staying so community centered around our neighborhoods, around the city in general, around supporting ourselves. Like, we'd all love to be able to like make a career out of doing this, but at the same time, knowing that hometown support is also super important in doing that, like having a place to land. It's maybe it's just the Irish upbringing that I have from like my grandparents and my grandmother, who like always let me know, like, one of the things she always made a point to tell me is how, even though she had lived in America for 60 plus years at this point when she was telling me this, she still makes a point to call her friends that she knew in her 20s that still live in Ireland,
Yeah.
I think I might be like kind of like getting off track a little bit with what I'm but just making that point to make connection and making it purposeful. Like, you have to put the work in to have community.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see that everyone's willing to put that work in and not just take it for granted out here. It's less about existing in it and more about participating in it.
I'll say that it makes perfect sense to me. I love Chicago. I lived in Atlanta for years, and I always explain to people that Atlanta is a network of neighborhoods that are like their own cities. Chicago seems that way to me, and that's why in the last few visits I've stayed. Last time I stayed in Oak Park. I've stayed in, is it Albany Square? Is that the name of a
Yeah.
neighborhood? Yeah, and it just feels so neighborhoody, and that's why I love Chicago. It just seems very neighborhood driven. Some of these
Yeah.
neighborhoods you feel like you're on Main Street, Norman Rockwell-esque. I like cities that feel like that, so it makes sense to me. Small
No,
town stuff. And
every neighborhood has its own personality, which is really like, I'm up in I'm up towards the Uptown neighborhood, which is way different than if I were to go down to, say, why am I now blanking on every neighborhood name in Chicago? It's different than being in like River North. It's different than being in Andersonville. It's different than being in, Palmer Square. Like every neighborhood has its own vibe, you know?
And Pride.
And
Pride,
pride, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, 100%. And that's kind of what I love about this place. It's the way I describe it to my friends back in Ohio is that Chicago is a lot like if you took all of Northeast Ohio and just squished it into a corner. So if you just just took your hands and just pushed all of like 30 north into one city, like that is what Chicago feels like to me.
Yeah, it's heartland.
Yeah.
This term, America's heartland, it's not a corny one.
No, unless you're talking about the farms, in which case, very corny.
Hey, I went on a big road trip this summer. I went to Chicago and spent some time with Ian Schneller there at Specimen
Yeah,
Products.
yeah, yeah.
And then I drove to Des Moines, Iowa to get a custom made electric sitar by Nepco Guitars. The guy's name is Ian Williams. And you'll love this. He's made one of these. He does not call them Flying V's because that's patented, trademarked by Gibson. It's a flying guitar. And Rat Boys, the band Rat Boys, do you
Love
know?
Rat Boys. Yeah, I
Okay.
know Rat Boys. They're great.
What's the lead singer's name? It's Sarah. Anyway, she plays one. That flying guitar that she has,
Yeah,
that's a Nepco guitar. And
I had no idea.
Ian Williams of Nepco helped me realize that dream, and he helped her realize her dream. And that's why I went to Chicago this summer. I went to Chicago first, and then I drove all the way to Des Moines. And so the corny comment that you just made, I
Yeah.
got it.
Yes.
It was at the end of July, and I was like, this is like Mississippi is full of cotton fields at the top, soybean fields. It's this hypnotic
Yeah.
agricultural thing. And up there, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was beautiful and corny and gorgeous.
It's corny and
Fields
gorgeous.
of yellow and green.
I miss living in a rural area a lot just for that reason. Like just for that, like it's only cornfields. I'm like, yeah, do you know how cool that is? I can look out and just literally see the horizon. Like I can see it's like looking over an ocean. Like, but it's not an ocean. It's soybeans. Like there is nothing between me and the edge of the earth right now. Like, yeah, this is wonderful. This is great.
Hey, but that's another reason to love Chicago because farmland
Yeah.
not far. And that I learned when I made a few side trips outside of Chicago. I drove up to one of those communities on the lake, where people like to vacation in Wisconsin. So I
Oh,
drove
up towards like
more.
Kenosha and Racine and up that way. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
drove to, do you know who Eric Campbell is?
Not off the top of my head. No.
He is many years older than you. And if you've ever heard the song, I Love Rock and Roll,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's him playing the intro.
Oh, no way.
Anyway, he is from Batavia, Illinois, Chicagoland area.
Yeah.
He and his family used to vacation at a place up there, and it's called Lake something or another. And he's always told me about it, and he shared memories of it. So I drove up there, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
I did it as a side trip. I spent the day up there, and I came back to Chicago. I did it all in, as a day trip. It'll come to me. I told people about this trip. I've never been to a place without Black people, and I've been there now.
Oh,
It's completely white, this town. It's
yeah.
on, everybody has a Swedish last name, and it's
Yeah.
on a lake up there in Wisconsin. I went to a legendary restaurant there on the lake, and there were people everywhere. It was a sports bar, and there's TVs everywhere. I said, the only Black person you'll see up there is on the TV screen.
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah. Wisconsin, especially the rural areas, is very whitewashed.
Yeah,
Like very whitewashed.
it's not their fault either. It's because it's farmland. But we were talking about the beauty of cornfields, and I saw it with the side trip. So
Yeah, no, yeah, and that's part of the reason. Not, I don't know if it's part of the reason, but it's a benefit of like playing gigs outside of the city. Is that when I drive to Princeton or Moline or to Champaign or up north, like I get that time in the car that I don't get in the city, which, say what you will about like car travel in the city, but like having my car to be able to allow me to load up my gear and then spend an hour just putting on the music I want to listen to, being by myself. It's meditative, and it is very freeing in a way to just be with my own thoughts. It's so there's so much happening in the city that it's there's always somebody around when you're here, but just that time to be like, just kind of like have your own little space in the universe is something that I have always really loved.
I call it windshield therapy.
Windshield therapy. I love that.
Mm.
It's like my friend at the coffee shop who told me to stop calling it my mental health walks and start calling it my hot girl walks. And I'm like, you're right.
I take daily walks too. That's part of my discipline. And I always listen to music, which is why I've been able to spend all this time listening to music. Like some people pay to go to a gym or for a personal trainer. I'm like, you've lost your mind. You should never have to pay anybody to exercise. And it is an opportunity to listen to music or a book on a tape or anything
Yeah.
else that it'll be good for up here. I bet Chicago's a great walking city. Oh, it's so beautiful there.
I live in such a nice spot to do that too. My apartment I've been in for so long is cheap because it's around like an industrial center and a cemetery, and it's not near any public transportation, but it's also I can walk anywhere from here. And
Yeah.
so it's that, and I know before the call I was telling you, but like me and the dog were up at the cemetery the other day, just walking around the cemetery, and we're standing there, and out of nowhere, just a pack of 10 deer come running through the cemetery. And it's like, you don't see that. You don't see that in other parts of this city. Um,
Yeah.
so being able to just get on my feet and get out into town and just walk around, and I know everybody at my corner coffee shop, and I, know the folks that work at the pizza place up the street. It feels like I'm still in a small town, even though there are like, I don't know the exact number, so I'm going to say a number. 75 zillion people here. It's such a beautiful place, and I moved here just to like kind of move here for a little bit, and once I got here I'm like, well, shoot, I'm staying. This is where I'm at now. And I love it.
I feel
Yeah.
it. I feel it. Oak Park has this reputation for having all these exquisite prairie style, Frank Lloyd Wright, but not all of
Yeah.
it is that fancy. It has a modest part of it, and that's where I stayed. I would walk 2 miles to dinner every night and love
Yeah.
every bit of it. There's also a lot of people who bash Chicago as an unsafe city, and I will tell you, I am from Mississippi. I have traveled all over the world, and I want you to know that every place is inherently unsafe, and you have to be careful everywhere you go. And I find Chicago to be so friendly to me. Anyway, I love the town. That's
Yeah.
why I told you that's why another reason why I wanted to talk to you is I love Chicago.
Well, I'm glad. I'm so glad you said nice things about it too. I had a friend come and visit me from my hometown recently, rural Ohio hometown, and so he came out with his wife and spent some time here. And he's like, I can't wait to go home and tell everybody this place isn't scary. And
Exactly.
I was like, yeah, man, why would I live here? Like, why would anybody live anywhere if it was, you know, actually scary and dangerous?
Yeah.
You know,
It's the stupid stuff that people say about urban centers, and we know why they say it. I'm from Mississippi. Anyway, I love Chicago, and I'm going to meet you in person. I'm going to come up there and take
come
part.
hang out. Yeah.
Because I really want to get up there in the summertime. I've already told my husband I want to get up there. Chicago, the thing that's so wonderful about Chicago in the summer is that it is so brutally cold there that you guys really love the summer.
We do. It was in this week, especially, we had what we call fake spring. So
Yeah.
yesterday it was 70 degrees. Today, the high of 42. So,
So when you get them, everybody loves it. Everybody's in a
oh, yeah.
great mood. I love the amount of biking that you guys got going on in that city. I'm like, wow, that's a city, that's commitment right there to be a
Yeah.
biker in Chicago.
It's getting a lot better too because of like the infrastructure they're installing for like safe bike lanes and things like that. That used to be my favorite way to get to and from places was on my bike. I'm currently bikeless because bike got lifted. But like the bike riding in Chicago is so easy to access what you need to from there, mixed with the public transportation, the train, and the availability of like a divvy bike if you just need something quick. Like it is such an easily it's such good transit in the city and the ability to get around. That the only time I use my car anymore really is if I have to take the dog somewhere or
Hmm.
if I have to load my gear in for a gig is really the only time that I'm ever taking my car anywhere, which is great because I'm not putting any miles on it.
That's a dream life. You told me that you had been to Nashville. When was the last time you had have come?
It was right before I moved to Chicago, so it was about 8 years ago. I went down with some friends and played at uh,
I love it.
Springwater
That's a great
Tavern.
that
Yeah,
that's a great place for you. A community place
yeah.
that's
It was a really
friendly
fun
and very
show. I ran into people that we actually had met before that didn't know I was playing. They were just there hanging out, and it was just such a good time. What a wonderful little spot
yeah.
down there. Yeah,
You got some parking and it's in a nice area.
yeah.
Well, Nashville has become undrivable in the 8 years since you've been here. And I bet most
Really?
people, I mean, it is just the traffic is atrocious. I know that you see the headlines about how the massive boom that we've had, and it was
Yeah.
completely unprepared for by the civic leaders of Nashville, which means driving in this city is absolute misery. And
Oh, wow.
it's just that's why I continue to covet these places that I maybe not ever don't want to never own a car, but that I don't have to have one. And in Nashville, you have to have a car unless you really have a limited life. Nashville has nothing. I mean, it was short-sighted, the population boom. It's very undrivable,
Oh, yeah.
and you can't get on trains and go to places and do things like that, and that's unfortunate. But also is a newer city than Chicago. You
You
know,
know, for sure.
those infrastructures were built a long time ago, and
Yeah.
so have we talked enough about that? Because I told you I like to keep these on the briefer side, and I know we have a lot more to talk about, which is a reason to have you back on.
I love that. This is great. Yeah.
Because I want you to indulge me in a little bird talk.
Let's talk birds. Yeah.
I'm trying to put birds and music together. I told you my dad was a champion bird watcher, and he
Hmm.
was also a trained forester who worked for Masonite. He's very much the spirit guide of my podcast. And that's why I'm trying to put birds and music together, because the same reason why my dad was able to be a champion bird watcher was he had a sensitivity toward aesthetics and things like that. And it's the same reason why I love music. Birds and music are indecipherable, which is why Jasmine or, Birdman, Minnie Riperton, the singer who shot out of Chicago. Do you know who she is? Loving You.
No.
It was on the radio in the 70s.
No,
You're
yeah, I know that song. Yeah,
probably
yeah,
not
yeah.
old enough to remember. Yeah, that's Minnie Riperton, and she's from Chicago, and she was known to sing on something called the Register, which means you can sing like a bird. Bird song
That's
is synonymous. It all goes
that is
together.
so cool. Yeah. It all
I'm,
it
I'm
all
trying,
goes back to birds.
it's all goes together, and that's why I'm trying to get on the brainy end of this like gear talk music and talk about birds, because I've noticed that people who aren't that intelligent really shut down when you start talking about birds. So here's the thing. This is what I've been trying to do. I told you about my obsession with the electric sitar and all the listening that I've done
Mhm.
to come up with this list. And I've used streaming services to do my research. My dad also chased birds all throughout the world. He saw over 1,000 birds during the course of his lifetime. And I've got 1,250 electric sitar songs. And they're all over music that most people don't realize it's there, because there's a lot of other exquisite instrumentation is the reason it's underappreciated, underrecognized.
Yeah.
And to be a champion bird watcher, you have to have a good ear. That's the thing. And you'll love this because of your Chicago pride. Chicago, as far as the cities in the United States, is a bird watcher's paradise if you really know what you're doing. And I learned this by reading my dad's book because the Wild Bird Hotline in Chicago was a very busy one in the 60s and 70s when people were starting to build a community around bird watching. They had a
Yeah.
hotline there. They had a bird watching hotline. And they're the ones who called my father in July of 1979 and said, we have an American woodcock that we have spotted at Calumet, and he got on a plane and flew to Chicago to see an American woodcock in the Calumet industrial area of
That's so
Chicago.
wild. That's crazy. Because I know up here we have the Winnemac Park bird watchers and things like that. And so like every now and then I'll see posts from them about things that are just popping up in the park in like during migration season especially. They have a beautiful.
It's a very
Yeah.
active community there, and it's been that way for decades. Here's a picture of my dad.
Oh, look at him with his binoculars.
He got
He
on the
kind
local news. Yeah, that's my dad. He broke the record with an American woodcock. And
amazing.
that's going to be our bird today. I told you about my friend Eric Gamble. He's a music producer, and he's the one who taught me the expression that your guitars, that's your wood pile.
Yeah. I love
Anyway,
that.
he's from Batavia, and I anointed him a few months ago. I told him, "You're the American woodcock," because he's from the Chicagoland area. But have you ever seen an American woodcock?
I don't know if I've ever seen one in person. No.
Okay, you got to go to eBirds or Cornell or whatever and look them up. The America's falling in love with this bird because it's so damn cute. And it has a long beak. And then when it's hunting, it bobs up and down. I keep seeing these viral videos where people have taken video of the American woodcock doing its weird little dance and then put music on top of it. And it goes like this. It's a really kooky little bird. And the reason why it has that long beak is that it eats worms and it needs it to worm hunt.
To get
And
down in
it's
the
also a
wormhole.
migratory, yes,
I'm
it's
looking at
also a
pictures right
migratory
now.
bird. Aren't they the cutest?
They're so adorable. They're like a little
Isn't
ball
it?
with like a just a little with a little poker on the front.
Yeah, I notice my algorithms are very sensitized to bird watching, but I notice these American woodcock t-shirts, American woodcock coffee mugs, and I keep laughing that America really is in love with the American woodcock. But the reason why it would be in that industrial area of Lake Calumet is it would have found its boggy shores good for concealment. You know how animals, away
Oh
from
yeah.
predators, looks like it's surrounding, but it could also be hunting for worms. And yeah, that wasn't a fancy place. That's an industrialized area. Do you know where Lake Calumet is? It's like it's a super fun waste site, but the birds love it because no humans ever go there.
No, yeah. Is that down on the south side? Is that where I'm thinking of?
I think it's on the south side, Lake Calumet. Anyway, it's in the city. So they called the
Yeah.
Chicago Wild Bird Hotline, called my dad and said, "We've got an American woodcock." And see, it is a migratory bird, and it was probably stopping on its way. And he got on a plane and he flew there. And I've actually got video of this because they filmed him for the news, and Charles Kuralt did something on him in 1979, and it's on there. There's video of him in Chicago breaking the record.
That's incredible.
And
That's so cool. So wait, the
in
the woodcock is how he broke the record. The woodcock here in Chicago was his like
the
record
one that
setting
broke
bird.
the record.
That
Yeah.
is so cool.
Anyway, that's why I always tell people I love Chicago. My dad
Yeah.
did too. He loved the music. He took our family there for vacation a few times and we stayed at the Palmer House. He always wanted to stay in
Yeah.
something very old Chicago. He
Yeah.
loved that city. And now I know why my dad loved these cities is they had all the things that you and I are talking about that we love, culture, public transportation, but they're also full of parks. And you have Lake Michigan, which is why the birding community is so active. You do know that the snowy owl has been showing up there more and more and more. That would be considered a rare bird for a lot of people to
No,
see.
yeah.
It's been popping up at the airport out there.
O'Hare. Out at
O'Hare.
O'Hare. Yeah.
And because it's really an Arctic bird, it's an opportunistic, if its food supply is depleted, it finds another place to live. And that's why it's gone extinct in Sweden, but it's popping up on the shores of Lake Michigan. Snowy owls. And that's another bird that you're going to fall in love with if you go look at pictures and videos. It's a white predator, and it is just gorgeous. And they've been popping up around Chicago, in Montrose
Yeah.
something wildlife. They've been popping up around there.
Oh, because there's the park just right along. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the bird
cool.
watching is superb there. I know that you already told me you love birds. You know a lot more about the northern cardinal than most people I've ever talked to. Once you ever start learning about birds, you're like you, and you're in a great place. Chicago is you found your home, but if you ever want to get interested in bird watching, and you've also got the Natural Museum, the Field. Isn't that a natural science museum?
It is, yeah. Down at the museum campus down there towards South Loop, I think is what they call it. I don't know. But yeah, no. It's really cool. It's really cool. Yeah.
Congratulations. We'll go bird watching together when I come to Chicago.
Yeah, let's go. We'll go over to the park. We'll grab a coffee and some masubi, and we'll go bird watching.
So congratulations. I taught you about the American woodcock, and it is the grooviest little bird. What I've been doing is at the end of these podcasts, I'm having a feature that I call Bird Tracks. And we're going to talk about a bird, and we're going to talk about an electric sitar song.
I love it. Heck yeah.
So I taught you about the American woodcock, and there are so many killer electric sitar songs that are Chicago centric. I don't even know where to start. Because Chicago is the home of electric blues.
Right? Yeah.
I told you we have an affinity, Mississippi and Chicago. By the way, I was looking up why these are so in concert with each other. It's about migratory patterns. Birds migrate and people migrate to better environments, which is what you did. But the Great Migration from the cotton fields of Mississippi to Chicago is massive, and that is why that's why there's a neighborhood that was called Little Mississippi. It's still there, but that's why Chicago is the home of electric blues, is the Great Migration. All these guys came from the Deep South, and Buddy Guy has a history with electric sitar. I found so many great tracks, but here's one thing. Do you know who Jerry Butler is, the soul singer?
Not off the top of my head. The name sounds super familiar.
He's the kind of person I'd play him and you go, oh, I know who that is. The reason why I know who Jerry Butler is part civic pride. He is a great migration story who came from the brutal cotton fields of Mississippi. I think he's from Sunflower County, and he moved up to Chicago, escaped is a better word. And he became what is known as the Iceman. And he is one of the finest soul singers who ever lived, but lesser known than people like Sam Cooke.
Sure.
That's why. Anyway, he lived in Chicago for years. He just died in the last couple of years, and he participated in Chicago politics too. I believe he held office in a couple of places. Now, this is long before your time, by the way.
No, for sure. Yeah.
But that's why this is very Chicago centric. When I was listening to music in the beginning, that was Jerry Butler playing, but he recorded these songs over in Philly, where Gamble and Huff employed a session man named Bobby Eli, who put electric sitar all over Philly soul, but he also put it on Jerry Butler's, what I consider to be some of his very influential records. That song I was listening to is called How Can I Get in Touch with You? And if you go listen to it, it's got all the strings and the horn. There's electric sitar in there. It's that twangy thing. But here's the track I want to tell you about, because this is a deep cut. This, I believe, was on what do they call the genre? Blaxploitation film soundtrack. And it's called Speak the Truth, but it's studded with electric sitar. So listen to this. He's gone now, but this is your Chicagoland fellow man. Listen to this.
Want you to speak truth to the people.
Truth?
Want you to tell them.
What?
Tell the truth to the people.
Truth.
Want you to talk.
That's electric sitar. Not a real
Amazing.
sitar.
Yeah,
It's funky.
it is.
And a
Yeah,
lot of people
no.
don't realize it's really funky. And a lot of people don't realize how much it's on soul and R&B, but I do.
No, yeah, it's got a cool. I've never realized that was that sound. Like that sound is from the electric sitar. I think I've just always just assumed like, oh, it's a guitar going through some sort of like phase effect or something. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Well, in a way
Yeah,
it is. In a way
yeah,
it is, because it really is. It's a guitar with a lipstick pickup and a buzz bridge, which gives it that weird funky sound.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah,
song that everybody knows, Redbone, Come and Get Your Love, the
yeah.
intro, that's electric sitar. It's electric sitar
I love
on that
this. I
song.
love learning new things. This is incredible.
It's been fun for me as a listener. It's enhanced my listening, and I'm sure as a musician, you know that I enjoyed it. Whenever I find it, I'm like, I get so tickled. I was like, I knew it. This stuff is all over all this R&B, and they used it a bunch, and that's why I'm so interested in the history of this instrument, and electro, and all that. So, anyway, how was your bird talk?
What was that? Sorry, one sec. My dog is going crazy again. Hey, Bowie,
It's
come here.
okay.
Come here. I know. They're making noise upstairs. Yes, they are. You're okay.
It
He,
happens. This kind of stuff happens all the time. It's part of
yeah.
it being. I call these. My podcast is very low budget. I call them field recordings.
You can see him like stalking behind me now. Just
I love. Are you a David Bowie fan?
I am, yeah. My one of the first albums my dad introduced me to as a teenager was Ziggy Stardust. And he's like,
Well
this dude,
done.
this cat was wild. He just come out in all this makeup and like this skin tight, like leotard with all the sparkles on it, with the big red hair, and it was something we'd never seen before. And I was like, yeah, I love this. Like, this is great.
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
massive fan, and so kudos to your father. I got some great leadership from my dad, and you did too. Way to go.
Well, next time we talk, we'll have to talk about. I used to do these David Bowie memorial events, like history events on his birthday. We'll have to chat some more about Bowie.
Is there anything that you might be having particularly going on in the summer that you already know about, pre-planned or anything?
What a great question. Right now, nothing super planned. I'm really locking in on trying to get some things rolling with my album and with this. I'm starting a production company at the moment. And so I'm putting a lot of focus on starting community-based music events where the focus isn't necessarily on the performers or the music, but to create a like third space for people to just come and hang out, play board games, bring a book, work on their craft. If they're, bring your knitting equipment, come do your cross stitching, come draw. And then in the meantime, I'm going to be bringing in musicians I know to just come and play in the room rather than having like touch tunes on or something like that. So
That's a
less,
great idea.
thank you. So we're going to be focusing on that this summer. It's going to be once a month, starting in a couple weeks, starting at the beginning of March on March 1st. And I'm starting a online pirate radio show out of that called Featured Radio Hour on Amplisounds Radio. It's going to be a weekly thing out of my showcase where I'm going to be featuring all just community acts, local, regional, touring, just people who aren't necessarily in the industry getting major credibility through like having, a label or anything like that, but still are putting out good work. So
Yeah.
going to be starting that radio program out of the showcase I run. And so those are kind of what I'm focusing on for the next few months is kind of building something out of that.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to get up there this summer. It's a very civilized drive here from Nashville once you get out of the city, and there's three different ways to go, and each one is kind of interesting. I don't know if you've
It's a
noted.
really great
Yeah,
hike. Yeah, I prefer
it's a
my
pretty drive.
is going through Indiana down to Indianapolis through Cincinnati and then south from Cincinnati. That's my personal preference just because I like Indianapolis and Cincinnati. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure what your go-to is. Where's your route?
Well, what happened is we've been up there so many times in the last 2 or 3 years that we tried many different ways. And then when I
Heck
went on
yeah.
my big road trip up there, I can't even remember, but I love it. I'm like you, the car time is time to listen to music. It's very meditative. And this trip I did by myself, um, which is even better. Like driving in the car by yourself is the
Oh
jam.
yeah.
It's the ultimate isolation chamber, or what they call isolation tank. But it was such a beautiful drive, and those windmills that you see,
Oh yeah.
that is some wild stuff. That lets you know
The
that
big
you've hit.
windmill farms. Yeah.
Yes, that is just. I tell people around here, you've never seen that? No, I don't know what you're talking about. And it is something to see. It's hypnotic. I
Yeah.
have a guy who comes on my podcast who's been so helpful to me is named Matthew Page, and he and his band have built a community there in Chicago. And he's got friends there, and he likes to go up there and do things with them and play in coffee houses and do these things. I'll have to put you two together.
Yeah. Link us up. That'd be rad.
He's
My circle is very based around who I know, who I can meet, and who I've met through other things. So yeah, I'd love to meet him.
he's
Yeah.
got a guy. He's got a friend up there. They're all around Berwyn, I think. Do you
Oh
live in?
yeah, that's like a little south of. That's on the south side of town. That's like, but I go down that way towards like Oak Park and Forest Park about
Yeah,
once a month at least, because I have a regular gig down there. But yeah,
they
Berwyn's great. They have Fitzgerald's.
he
Uh,
plays at Fitzgerald's a
oh,
lot. His
cool.
band. He's built a big following there, which is why it's they go up there a lot. They've built the band is DOG. But anyway, they've built a community up there, and he goes up and down there a lot. And he's the one that told me about the windmills. That's the way you're getting right near the Illinois border. It's those amazing wind farms are just something to see. I've never seen it at
Oh yeah.
night. I would love to see it at night. I try not to drive at night, but anyway, we ran much longer than we expected to, but isn't that what happens when you make a new friend?
It is. It didn't even feel like it. I was like, I just looked up a minute ago and I'm like, oh, we've been talking for like an hour. Like that was great. This is such a nice conversation. This has been good.
I'll be taking some of it out for brevity because I want people's attention. I want them to listen to the story. I want them to learn about birds. I want them to learn more about the history of Dan Electro instruments. And that have you ever seen the movie The Shawshank Redemption?
Oh yeah. Oh
You know,
man, I that used to be on. That used to be on like every weekend. So anytime you're homesick from school, it felt like that was on TV on
it's
some
just
channel.
such a great flick. And Morgan Freeman, of course, my Mississippi brother. You know that expression that he says in the movie, "Get busy living or get busy dying."
Yeah,
My new credo is get busy birding or get busy dying.
I love it. I love it.
Birds are a great way to study evolution because they do it more quickly than humans. And you'll really start to believe in science if you learn the history of these birds because they've changed.
Yeah, no, I've never even thought about it like that. But yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
It'll make you believe in evolution. And that's why I'm ready for everybody to evolve.
Hell yeah, I love that.
What's the best way for people to look you up? I saw you have your own website or domain by your email. How do you
Yeah,
how do we find you, Nick?
that's a great question. I am on Instagram under Nick the Wilk, NickTheWilk, or I don't really like having to be beholden to social media, so you can also find me on my website, nickwilkmusic.com. And
Excellent.
you can shoot me an email, send me a message, sign up for the email list on there. I send out updates about once a month about all the shows that we're putting on with other musicians in town, about shows I'm doing around the area, about how the album's going. And then I have a Patreon page where I share like a bunch of old tracks on there that you can subscribe to. And I post every Tuesday. I write a little blog about whatever's on my mind on Tuesday on
Way
Patreon
to go.
too. Yeah. So that's what I've got going on.
I love it. Well, you're all about the spirit of community, and that's what I've been trying to build. And I hope your friends will check out the podcast and enjoy it, and come be a member of my birding community because that's what my dad did with the book. Before he decided to break this record in '79, he spent 2 or 3 years building a community back when it was not easy, pre-fax, pre-email, pre-internet, pre-anything. He would write letters to the birding clubs all over the country, and he knew how to build a community, and I'm trying to prove I know how to do it too. I can't thank you enough for coming on a
Well,
podcast
thank
because
you. And yeah,
it's talk therapy when you get to talk to somebody who's funny and smart.
it's been so lovely. Like I really appreciate I really appreciate blending the hobby and the craft that is bird watching in with the same experience that is listening to music is such a cool connection, because you were saying like you have to hear through everything else in the environment to hear the electric sitar, just like just like you said, you have to listen through all of the noise and all of the sound around you to hear the specific bird. And what a wonderful analogy of these two hobbies being essentially not the same but the same thing. It's very, you have to be attentive and you have to put time and care and craft into it, listening
It's
to
the
music,
It's
hearing
the
birds.
ultimate mindfulness. People are always mindfulness this, but I'm like, this is real mindfulness.
Yeah.
And I've got a real treat for you because it sounds like that you live in an area in Chicago that has a lot of natural life because there's some green space that gets undisturbed, and that cemetery, it probably has a lot of old trees in it, which is one
Yeah.
reason why you've got an opportunity there. There is an app that you can put on your phone by Cornell Birds, and all you got to do is it's called the Merlin app, Merlin. And that's a type of bird, by the way. It's really simple. I think you just give them an email, and all you got, if you hear all those birds out there singing, just hit that and it'll tell you what's out there. And you will find that there are northern cardinals all around you. You just can't see them, but you can hear them singing.
I love that. I love that.
You'll
Yeah.
be you'll get addicted to it because it'll teach you about birds and bird song. And it's so synonymous with music because I notice how much musicians use bird song in their songs to create ambient stuff.
Yeah.
In the intros and these breaks, you hear birds. And I'm like, wow, this really is synonymous. The songs of birds, whether it's gulls or anything else, they really captivate you. And even when you're not really paying attention to it, they're therapeutic.
It reminded me something. There's this musician, and I don't know if you've ever listened to him. And we can cut this, but I just want to recommend this to you. A musician named Cosmo Sheldrake,
Okay.
and he does a lot of like whimsical, I guess. If you think of like a little bit like a Danny Elfman-esque whimsical sort of like folk pop songs, but he uses samples from things he's captured in nature to do it.
Oh,
And he has, I think it's an album that is called Wake Up Calls. Yes, it is called Wake Up Calls by Cosmo Sheldrake.
I am all over this because, okay,
And it is
Cosmo,
entirely comprised of recordings of endangered birds.
this is so genius. And I've got a friend who's a falconer and a park ranger up in New York who's an electric guitar enthusiast. And I keep telling him, dude, you need to go out there and make some bird recordings. He's
Yeah.
got an ear for music. He's a very talented guitar player. I said, this in itself is something to work with as a medium. And okay, Cosmo Sheldrake, and what is the record? It's called
Wake Up Calls.
Oh my gosh, I'm all over this. This is staying in the podcast because it's good, in fact.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, I love this guy's work, and it clicked right then. It's like, oh, why have I not brought this up to you? This is a whole album just comprised of rare bird, and like if you go to his website, it'll show you like all the birds that he's recorded and everything and used on the album and everything. But it's a fun listen. I think you'd really enjoy it.
I cannot wait to listen to this. I told you that I was trying to go short format, and hey, next time, since we covered so much ground during this one, next time you come on, we'll do a quick 15, 20-minute catch up, and
I love it.
This will be our groundwork.
I love it.
And I appreciate your time. I know that if you're doing this the way you're doing it, time is precious, and I appreciate you wasting some with me today.
It was hardly a waste. This was such a lovely time, and it was so good to meet you in person and everything. I know I followed your podcast for a while. I know we just recently got connected, but I remember when you posted this, I was like, oh, this is a really interesting concept, the lipstick pickup guitar podcast. I'm like, this is fascinating. And so I followed your posts online for a while now, and I'm so glad you reached out. And we've become friends. This is so wonderful.
Nice to meet you, Nick. We'll have you on again. I can't thank you enough for your time. I'm going to say goodbye. Say goodbye to our listeners.
Goodbye to our listeners.
What's the new credo? Get busy birding or get busy dying.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, we're saying bye. I'm hitting stop.
Bye, guys.
If you hear excellent tone and the sound of birds chirping, it means you've made it through an entire episode of the Lipstick Pickup Podcast. You're as free as a bird now, but I hope you'll join me again soon. Comments or questions? I can be reached at emily@thelipstickpickup.com.